Well, folks, I'm just going to say it right at the get-go. This is not going to be the most visually exciting video. I mean, I came out to a wonderful black oak savanna after a day of work, just trying to de-stress a little bit, and to my chagrin, in fact, I didn't really see any flowers happening. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to talk floral anatomy or things of that nature so much. But, this is still a lovely slice of a nature preserve, and I drove a goddamn hour to get here. So you can bet your ass I'm going to do what I can to make a pretty crackin' good botany video out here, even if the flowers aren't exactly the way I wanted them to be displaying. So, with that out of the way, we're probably going to be talking about a lot of trees and subshrubs that you get in the black oak savanna. So this will be a nice little lesson on that little subject, I suppose. And we are also, I'm going to talk about the forbs. Even though they don't have the flowers, they're still here, and they're still, being important parts of their ecosystem. So just because stuff's not flowering doesn't mean we're not going to have a great time. And to kick things off, I'm going to start off with a plant that I've never seen in my whole life before I came here, but I knew what it was right away. This is Salix humilis, the prairie willow. Get a load of that beautiful silvery foliage on this plant. Isn't that nice? Then you just want to get up in there. Just get up in there. You're allowed to, provided that you don't hurt the plant, I don't really have too much to say about this willow. It's a nice willow, nice and native. A lot of the willows get kind of a bad rap because, you've got things like Salix interior and exigua, which are very annoying weeds, and especially in terms of how they invade wetland systems. They just kind of get into the wetland system and they take over. But this is a nice Salix, So I'm very happy to finally make my, make its acquaintance, become acquainted with it. I don't know, I'm kind of tired, and I think the heat cooked my brain today at work, so this is going to be an interesting video. Like I said, few on the flowers, but we're still going to be talking the good stuff. There's a couple of these Salices in the area, which is nice to note, because I think this is a rare plant indicative of a high-quality ecosystem. So that's lovely to see. Let's move things right along to a member of the Fabaceae. I love the Fabaceae. You can't get enough of them. The peas. This right here is Tephrosia virginiana, and you're going to be able to tell it's a pea right away because it's got that characteristic compound pinnate leaf structure that you get in a lot of the peas. I'm going to be showing you a couple peas today. Some of them, one of them you might recognize, Baptisia alba. Also going to show you guys Baptisia tinctoria. But this is Tephrosia virginiana, the goat's fruit. It's got a beautiful flower on it that I wish I could show you. It's got the if you're familiar with the pea floral anatomy, which I was going to try to discuss, but unfortunately there's just not a lot of peas in bloom out here. But it's got a bright yellow banner petal, and then the keel and wing petals on it are pink. So it's a beautiful yellow and pink flower, typical pea formula, it's a typical pea flower, like what you would get if you've ever grown sweet peas in a garden. So it's a very nice native plant that you kind of get in the sandier soils. Like I mentioned, this is a black oak savanna, so it's kind of a sandier system, but the canopy here, as you can see, it's being managed nicely. I've got a wide open slice here, and throughout the entire area of this preserve, it seems like they're doing a pretty good job of making sure that the oaks don't overcrowd the canopy to allow these beautiful other flora of the understory to kind of thrive. And speaking of flora of the understory, let's talk about this guy right over here. This is Gallium baccata, the black huckleberry. Again, I don't really have much to say about a lot of these things because they're just kind of shrubs, and shrubs kind of bore me, to be 100% honest. But I'm trying to make it work, because, well, I mean, God only knows I spent enough time getting out here, and now that I'm here, I might as well talk botany. So this is Gallium baccata. It's the black huckleberry, like I said before. As you can see there, the berries on it. Excellent. And it's just carping in the ground out here. There's a huge abundance of this. It's a beautiful member of the, I believe that's a member of the Ericaceae, which is the blueberry family. So it's probably got some pretty cool stuff going on under the soil in terms of its relationship with some mycorrhizal fungus, because ericoids, members of the Ericaceae that is, they're often engaging in in relationships with fungi. Some of those relationships aren't the nicest. Like you can get into the Monotropidae, which is a group of mycoheterotrophs, which actually eat fungus in order to survive, which is pretty badass in my opinion. This guy's not in the Monotropoideae. I'm not sure what subfamily of the Ericaceae he's in. Guess I'll have to write that up because I'm still learning stuff, you know? It's always a learning experience when you're out and about with me. I'm always learning stuff. Maybe you're learning stuff. Maybe not. I don't know. But we're going to move along and find some other stuff to point at, I think. So I wasn't expecting it, but sometimes when I'm on these hikes, I get nice little surprises like this. This is the state-listed white pine, Pinus Strobis. It's easily identifiable by the fact that it's got 5 needles per fascicle, which are these little bundles of needles that it gets. If you can see, as you can see, per fascicle, we're working with 5 needles. An easy way to remember that is that white has 5 letters in it. So 5 letters, 5 needles. You know, it makes a lot of sense when you put it that way. But this is a pretty cool plant. Like I said, it's state listed, which means that it's pretty rare to find it in Indiana. I'm not sure what its exact status of state listing is. I think it might be state threatened. But the reason that it occurs so infrequently is because pines were heavily harvested during the 1800s as a timber wood. Because, you know, if you know anything about woods and stuff like that, you would know that pine is a really, really soft wood, and so it's really easy to work with. And so as a result, the pines kind of took a bit of a hit as colonial expansion spread throughout their range. But, you know, they're still holding on, still doing what they can. So that's pretty lovely to see. There was a little sedge in here that I wanted to point out too, just because this is me we're talking about. And I just like sedges. It was Carrick Swani. Yeah, here he is. Carrick Swani. I find this guy in the sandy soils a lot too. There's a little beetle sitting on this. The Carrick Swani, what's notable about Carrick Swani, a member of the Porocystis section of the Carrickses, it's got very, very fuzzy perigynia. I called this hairy grape sedge for a while before I could remember that its name was just Carrick Swani. But if we take a look at these perigynia, remember the perigynia are what you call the perigynia are the structure that surrounds the achene in the Carrickses. So, and the achene is of course a dry seed. So remember that the perigynia surrounds the achene. So when I'm talking perigynia, we're talking reproductive parts. We're having fun. You can't really see the fuzz on these, but you're just going to have to trust me when I say that they're fuzzy. So that was Carrick Swanii and a white pine. There's a dicanthelium right there, but that's a group of grasses that makes me go absolutely just nuts. I can't handle them. They say they're called the chill grasses, but I just don't know about all that. So anyway, white pine and Carrick Swanii, that's pretty nice. Let's go find some more stuff, shall we? So here I am scraping the bottom of the barrel and looking for flowers with Gallium Pylosum, the hairy bedstraw. This is a member of the Rubiaceae, the coffee family. You might be familiar with galliums because some of them can be kind of aggressive weeds. They're also known as the bedstraws. Did I already say that this is called hairy bedstraw? I can't tell. But if you look in between my fingers, you'll see a very, very small flower. God, I'm shaky. A nice maroon flower. Now, something that you might do if you're just not as well versed in the galliums as some people is you might mix this up with Gallium circaezans, which is obviously it's another species of gallium. But a couple notable distinctions that'll prevent you from making that same mistake that I've definitely made. Number one, the inflorescences. The flowers on Gallium Pylosum are this nice little maroon color, you can see. In circaezans, they're going to be more white to greenish. They're probably going to be white. Yeah, white, greenish, yellowish, whatever. They're not maroon is the main point. Additionally, the undersides of the leaves in Gallium circaezans, they've got glands, they've got glandular hairs going on, which is something that you're not going to see in Gallium circaezans. So if you can't go by the flowers, go by those glandular hairs that are at the base of it. This is a pretty nice plant, I think. It's cool. A friend of mine introduced me to it a couple days ago, so now I'm talking about it whenever I can. We've got a nice milkweed right here. Not in bloom yet, but definitely a member of the Asclepiuses. Is this? I think this might be Asclepius verticillata, the world milkweed. But I can't be 100% sure because there's more milkweeds than I know what to do with sometimes. But a beautiful flower nonetheless, even though it's not necessarily in bloom already. Something about this is telling me that it's not verticillata though, and I don't know exactly what's bothering me about calling it that. A milkweed mystery. That's the fun stuff. You know, because you think you know everything and you're a real hotshot, and then you see a plant and it's like, you just have no idea what you're working with. Ah, the fun of botany. Now here's another milkweed, and this is one that I know for sure. This is Asclepias amplexicalis, also called the sand milkweed or the clasping milkweed, because of the way these leaf bases kind of clasp at the stem. You see what they're doing there? Definitely clasping. That's where it gets the name amplexicalis from. Like, you know how frogs do amplexus? You know, think of like that. Asclepias amplexicalis, the clasping milkweed, everybody. Again, it's a beautiful milkweed with the typical hoods and horns inflorescence structure, but I can't show you that at the moment, so you're just going to have to take me at my word for it and get outside and find some milkweeds for yourself, so that you know I don't just make all this garbage up. Anyways, moving right along. Now, extremely abundant in this savanna is this plant right here. Get a load of these leaves, by the way, because that'll make this name make sense once I say it. This is Aurelaria pediculara. The fern-leaved false foxglove. Bit of a mouthful, that. But it's a very cool plant. This is a member of the Orobanchaceae, which is a really, really neat family of plants because almost all members in the Orobanchaceae are parasitic to some degree. They're either outright parasites, which is called being holoparasitic, or they're not outright parasites, which is known as being hemiparasitic. Holo and hemi. Makes sense. Learn your prefixes. They help out a lot, apparently. But anyway, it's a very cool plant, but who this guy is actually parasitic on is quite interesting. It's parasitic on the oak trees. These magnificent bastards in the genus Corkus. Probably Corkus valutina, given that I'm in a black oak savanna. That would be the smartest guess. Yeah. But these are very, very interesting flowers. They're favored by bumblebees. They absolutely love them. But something really cool about the flowers of the Aurelarias is that at the end of each day, once it's in its blooming period, the flowers will actually detach. And then it'll keep on sending out buds. It's very, very cool to see. I'm definitely going to have to come out here in a couple weeks and snap some photos because it's going to be absolutely beautiful once all this Aurelaria lights up. And it's going to be a buffet for the pollinators as well. There were a couple other plants that I wanted to talk about in this narrow area. Who am I going to point at next? We'll talk about this guy. This is just a lovely shrub. This is Roos kopalanum, the shining sumac, or the winged sumac. Gets that name because of this wing at the middle of the rachis. Would that be a rachis because it's a compound leaf? I was going to call it a petiole, but the petiole's down here. Rachis. I'm calling it a rachis. It's got a winged rachis. I really hope that's right. But, yeah, just a lovely native member of the sumacs in the Anacardiaceae, the poison ivy and cashew family, interestingly enough. Got Sassafras albedum, another lovely member, another lovely dweller of the sandier soils. And we've also got, I believe, Corylus americana, the American hazelnut. Beautiful. Oh, it's so nice out here. So just a rapid fire going on there. Sassafras albedum, that's in the Lauraceae. Then you've got the Corylus, and I don't even remember what family the Coryluses are a part of. And then you've got the Aurelaria, who's a part of the Orobanchaceae. Try to keep up, or just rewind it or something. I don't know. I'm not the boss. I don't even think these videos are that good, to be honest. We've got another Gallium right here. This looks like Gallium Pylosum. As you can see, this one's in fruit, though. Those nice little fruits that get stuck to your clothes and are really annoying. That's the Galliums. That's actually quite a lot of different plants that exhibit that. That's called zoomicockery, which is where you rely on animals to move your seeds. Pretty cool mechanism, don't you think? Oh, yeah. I think I'm going to go try to wrap this up because I think I'm just rambling on and pointing at stuff at random just because it looks good. Ooh, there's a wasp down here. Probably a bald-faced hornet. Cool. Anyway, I'll probably point at a couple more things and then we'll look to wrap this video up. So what we're looking at right now is the lovely and state-listed Baptisia tinctoria. Like, if you're familiar with the Baptisias, you already know this is a member of the Fabaceae, the pea family. Get a load of that trifoliate compound leaf. Compound leaves are a really good indicator that you're working with a plant in the Fabaceae, by the way. You might notice that that's something that a lot of these have in common. The Baptisias have got the compound leaf. The Tephrosia that I showed you guys at the beginning of the video had a compound leaf. Desmodiums have got compound leaves. I could be on my knees rattling off plants with compound leaves that are in the Fabaceae for a really long time, and I think you guys get that point. But what I wanted to do with this, I'm a little bit miffed, honestly, because I've missed the prime time for this thing in bloom, which kind of sucks because I really wanted to get some pictures of it this year. But that's okay, I'll just come back next year or whatever. But anyways, let's talk about the pea morphology, because I say pea morphology a lot, and I don't know if I've really given you guys like the best depiction of what the pea morphology really is. So if I can get my camera to focus on this damn flower, I'll show you guys what the pea morphology is all about. So, how am I going to do this? I need a stick. So, there's three parts to the pea inflorescence. There's the banner petals, the wing petals, and the keel petals. The banner petals are these two. These ones on top. Then you've got your keel petals. Banner wings. Sorry. Then you've got your wing petals. Your wing petals surround the keel petals. So, as we can see, we'll move this wing petal out of the way. God, this is difficult. So we'll move this wing petal out of the way. Alright, you know what? I'm actually just going to have to pause and dissect this a little bit. But like I said at the beginning, these top... Good lord, this is hard. So those top petals, those are the banner petals. Then below them, you've got the wings, and the wings surround the keel petal, and the keel petal is what houses the reproductive parts in the Fabaceae. So what I'm going to do right now... Oh god, this is going to be a outright mess. I'm going to peel off one of the wings to show you guys the keel petals, and then I'm going to poke the keel petal to make the reproductive structures pop out. So hang on a sec. So as you can see, I've peeled off the wing, and that reveals the final part of the pea anatomy, which is the keel petal. That was probably a very confusing and jumbled explanation that might leave you more confused about this than when we started. So if that's the case, I'm sorry about that. But finally, of course, the keel petal is what, like I said, houses the reproductive structures. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to pop this open to reveal them to you. Actually, I'm just going to peel it entirely. Hang on. And now you can see on the interior of the keel petal, you've got those things that have a white, it looks like a black and white stick. Those are your 10 stamens and the pistil that you get in the Fabaceae. So remember that. You got the banners on top, wings surround the keel. Keel houses the reproductive morphology. Bing, bang, boom. Hope that made sense. I think this is where I'm going to wrap things up, because I came out here for the Baptisia tinctoria, so it seems a fitting place to end. Because, you know, like I said, it's a state-listed plant, so sometimes you just gotta get outside and go run these things down in their habitat, see what's going on, see how they're doing. You know, and it looks like this guy's doing pretty well. It's locally abundant, it seems like, and appears to be fruiting pretty well. So, that's lovely. And with that, I think I'm going to close, so have a good one, folks.